Welcome back. This is Chile Davis, and I'm back to do another video. And today's video is about starting your own business and doing business with the government, doing business with the federal government, that is, and getting a contract that could pay your business up to $200,000 or more. It just really depends on the contract. So what I'm going to discuss here is how to set up your business and some of the steps that you have to take in order to do business with the government. All right, so I'm on Legalzoom.com, and I'm showing you how you can start up either an LLC or a corporation. To keep it simple, I would say start an LLC. Just start. Don't make this complicated, because I have a lot of people that ask me that. Oh, should I do a corporation? Should I do an LLC? Just start. So you want to start with your LLC or corporation, and in this case, just use an LLC. The other thing you're going to need before you start this LLC is you're going to need a name. So a name of your business, you want to check it with your Secretary of State. I'm on Georgia's SOS.com, .ga.gov. And in most states, you can do a quick search. So for example, I'll do a search for Bob's janitor business, and we'll see what brings back. And actually says no data found. Now I'm going to do one where I know there's data found. And so you see this business name is already registered and its status is active. So no one can take this name, Crown Jones, right? So that's what you want to do first, is make sure the name of your business, in this case, I said Bob's janitor service. Do a search. Make sure that name, and as in this case, it says no data found. So we could probably do service, and you're gonna probably find several businesses with the name janitor service in its title. As I expected, First Coat janitor service, Burns janitor service. And if you're going to do business with the government, make sure the name is not taken. As you can see, you have active compliance, dissolved, that means not being used, and then revoked. So make sure you go to your Secretary of State first and conduct a business search of the name, and then proceed with your application on Legalzoom. Start your LLC, and then they'll proceed to ask all the things that I just mentioned. Let's say Davis janitor service, and I'm almost sure it's available. Okay, and then it goes on, it tries to start the finances. In what state would you like Davis janitor service? And I type in GA. And then it says, great news, Davis janitor service appears to be available. So it looks like Legalzoom has a tool that will link it back to your particular Secretary of State. But for this video, I'm just saying, look up the name first and check to see whether it's available or not. And then you have other tools as well, trademark and other service or process to check whether that particular name's available. What Legalzoom will do for you is it will allow you to get your EIN. So that's your business's tax ID. And then it'll also give you a state certificate registering your business. So that is from the state level. You get a state certificate, in this case, out of Atlanta, Georgia, stating that, Davis janitorial service has become active. And then also you'll get something from the federal government. What Legalzoom does is reach out at the federal level to the IRS and gets you that EIN number granted. Now, the only slip up in this is you must know the name of your business and your address must be correct first. One of the issues I had a business one time I wanted to start, and the name actually was taken. I wanted to name the business after myself, and they were like, no, you can't do that. So I think it was like C&D services or something like that. So it was pretty generic name. So anyway, I came up with a different name of my business at that time, and I was able to proceed with the Legalzoom process. But they also need a business address. So when you register an EIN at the federal level, you're going to need the social security person of the name of the business that's attached to, and you're going to actually need a physical address. So that means it's either going to have to be your home address or a business address. And I haven't done a video on this, but there's something called virtual offices. So if you set that up with like Opus virtual office, okay, so Opus virtual office program, what it does is provide you with all three, basically a corporate mailing address, a corporate phone number, and a receptionist, all for $9.99. And I'll put the link below if you want to do that, get a virtual address. And they are in all major cities, whether you're in Atlanta, Austin, Beverly Hills, Boca Raton, Brooklyn, Chicago, Dallas, Fort Lauderdale, etc. Okay, so you would want to have your business address, either a virtual address or a local business address if you can partner with somebody, a small business. Have all that information when you register your business with Legalzoom. And as you can see, Davis janitorial service appears to be available. Then we click the next button called Get Your LLC. That's when they would require your name, the location of your business, your social security number, and then Legalzoom reaches out to the IRS.com to get your EIN and such for you. And then once that process is done, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks with Legalzoom. You get back your EIN, your state certificate, all the pertinent information that will allow you to open a business bank account. And once you have the Legalzoom package back and you open up the business bank account, then I would move on to the next step, which is registering with SAM.gov. SAM.gov is a website that is used to register businesses that will do contracting with the government at the federal level. So there's several different contracts available, but you want to get into SAM.gov as soon as possible. Here it is. You can sign up here at SAM.gov and get started. Now, once you get in, register with SAM.gov, you'll also, by doing business with the Govt, you more likely get a Dun & Bradstreet number. That number will be generated because with the business comes, your business name, your business address, and a Dun & Bradstreet number. Generally, when you open that business bank account, whether it's Wells Fargo or Chase or Bank of America, they're going to tag you with the Dun & Bradstreet number. From there, the next critical point after registering with SAM.gov, in order to do business with the government, there's a long application here, but inside of the application of SAM.gov, basically, they want to make sure that, you don't owe any taxes, and that, part of the application is about your background experience. So in this example, I was talking about janitorial services. So in the application, they're going to want somebody in your business that has a lot of experience in that particular, like either you or your partner would need to have janitorial experience if that's the type of government contract that you're going after. So from there, you'll get something what they call a cage code. Now, I pulled this up on basically govcontractchamber.com. And this is a special code that you get as a government contract, and everybody needs to have one. So it says a cage code is a 5-character alphanumeric unique character assigned by the Defense Logistics Agency. Cage codes are assigned to business organizations that wish to pursue contracts or grants from the government, from the US federal government. So I did this process before. I registered with SAM.gov before. And as I said, they're going to want somebody with experience in the particular contract you're going after, right? All right, so we talked about the EIN, and we talked about the DUNS number, and now we're talking about the cage code. So we talked about the fact that when you send in your application for your EIN, it has to be attached to some person, some social security number. So like if I have a corporation, it's attached to some, my corporation is attached to some social security number, which is my own. And then from there, we talked about that DUNS number being generated once you open the business bank account. Then the third part is doing business with the government, which is it's basically commercial and government entity. This special unique cage code lets the government know that you're a unique customer and it's assigned to your business. So if anything happens with that business, it's traced back to what we call a cage code. And then going on, this is a little bit further down the road, but it says award recipient unique identifier. It's talking about the cage code and the Dun and Bradstreet number. Now, what is the Dun and Bradstreet number? It is a basic criteria on how you pay your vendors or how you pay your bills, basically for your business. It is a universal number that is worldwide. It's not just United States. It is a universal number system that basically you have attached to your Dun and Bradstreet number. There's a report attached that tells you how well you pay your vendors and other payments and other obligations. So the government is going to look at that too. So they're going to look at, hey, they're going to pull your Dun and Bradstreet report and you're going to see how well you pay your bills. So that's another thing. So two things that could stop you from doing business with the government is one, owing taxes, and number two, having a bad report about your business. So if you have outstanding obligations for your business, you cannot do business with the government. They will not allow you to do that. All right. So these are the 4 numbers that you need. Cage code is, again, the unique number that you'll be assigned when you're contracting with the government. And we talked about social security number. We talked about the employer identification number, the EIN, and the Dun and Bradstreet is assigned from Dun and Bradstreet. That's contract with the government to provide unique numbers. And then last is the commercial and government entity code, which again is a unique identifier and is created in non-proprietary system by the Department of the DoD and assigned and managed by the Defense Logistics Agency. So this out of, okay, you already know about the SSN, everybody has one. The EIN, if you're a small business owner, you should know about an EIN. Some people like to use their social, but I prefer to always have some level of separation. So EIN is the next level. Then the third level is when you're starting to get into business, definitely a Dun and Bradstreet's number. This is something that's universally created, that if there's any popular business out there, they have a Dun and Bradstreet. So like, I'll just do Dun and Bradstreet.com. Go to their website. It's called dnb.com. And if I just put in the name of the business, let's see, I should be able to find it on this website. Let's see. All right, so let's just say, for example, Walmart. That's too easy, but we're gonna do Walmart. All right, so when we do that search, immediately Walmart pulls up, Bentonville, Arkansas, that's its parent location, and the Dun and Bradstreet report is intelligent enough to know that Walmart has multiple locations, but it's just stating here that the headquarters is at Bentonville, Arizona, and it, being emailed the Dun & Bradstreet number. And they have several locations. This is just the main one. So if someone is in business and you come to dnb.com, you should be able to find them. Even if it's a small business in town, as long as they have a business address and they've been in business for at least a year, they will have a Dun & Bradstreet number, right? So let's go back to the cage code. Like I said, Dun & Bradstreet is a universal number assigned to any company, and especially you're going to need it if you're doing contract with the government. All right. So cage codes have been required federal contractors since 2014. That's relatively around the same time I started doing business with, or I looked into doing business with the government. And the numbers, these different codes, they start to keep coming up too, but at least the basic one you need to do business with the government is called the cage code. That's how they assign to you what type of business and what type of contracting you're going to do. Because like if you're doing manufacturing, you're going to have a certain type of cage code attached to it. So notice they talked about the cage code is a replacement code for manufacturing and national supply code of manufacturers. So that has to do with, like, within the government, there's several type of organizations you can do business with. So that cage code will route them to which part of the government you're doing business, whether you're manufacturing or you're just delivering supplies, or if you're doing a janitorial business. Okay. So next, let's talk about the bidding process. How do you find out about new contracts? Now you can register with this site. I'm just going to come here. It's called Marketplace. Unison Marketplace. And once you have your business, your email set up for your business, you need to register on unisonmarketplace.com. This is a place where you can see several business opportunities to bid on, and it'll actually alert you when there's a contract that might fit your business. So let's go into the portal. I've already logged in, and Unison Marketplace. I've been part of this portal now for over 5 years, but this describes what type of contract that you could be looking for. Number one, here's a contract to talk about ice machines for GSA scheduling, exercise equipment, replacement filter and air purifier, fitness equipment, field trailer open market, forensic DNA tracker analysis, Dell monitors, illumination signals. So these are all contracts that need to be fulfilled for a government contractor. And it just shows you, okay, here's the location, here's who you're supplying to. One is Fort Bliss, another one is US Embassy, Pakistan, DHS Customs, Border Patrol Protection, the USDA Forest location. And you can filter this by any what you would like. So again, let's just talk about contracting with the government. Number one, I mentioned you need a cage code. And here we're looking at several opportunities. So you would basically look at the details of the contract, okay? Supplying ice machines for the border protection. And then you want to look to see when does it expire. Okay, it looks like it expires today on 9/8 at 11 Eastern Standard Time. Okay, now you can click on this watch button, which would add it to your watch list. So if you see that it finally gets bidded or it finally gets awarded, you could add this particular contract to your watch list. And you can do the same with any of these. Now you can flip through in different categories over here, clothing and textile. That could be uniforms and etc. Let me log back in. No way. All right, so here we are, we're logged back in, and there's like I said, there's several opportunities. You can look at all the opportunities if you want, but then if you can go through and see, okay, there's a clothing and textile opportunity. And these are contracts here. It says one, supply a big tent for GSA scheduling. And this is for U.S. Embassy, Bujumbura, Burundi. So this is probably not going to be for you, but look at the location, the party that needs it. Another one is in Iraq. BIP amenities for open market. So that's definitely not going to be something for you in stateside. Let's go back to opportunities. Professional consulting services. All right, let's see. Watercraft vessel with trailer, open market for the DHS, Department Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection. Guess that's not one. Wait a minute. Okay, another one's filtered by location. Let's go look New Jersey. Assorted tools, open market for Monrovia, Liberia. Okay, well, let's look at the contract. Let's see what's in the contract. Again, this is more business stuff, NICS code. This is the type of manufacturing business you're in. Most people will have this type of code attached to their business. So that's an important thing when you're filling out a government contract or you're bidding for one. In this case, you want to make sure your NAIC code is in the realm of on the contract you're bidding on. So it looks like these are tools, cutting tools, and they need to, and the buyer is out of Monrovia, Liberia. Okay, they give you instructions. You have the entering of the bid information manual. You start the bid, or you could prepare on Excel sheet. And here are the items that they need. So they talk about a pipe cutter, 3-piece aluminum straight pipe, morphine wrench pipe. So the details of the contract or what they need is written in this opportunity on this dashboard. So just remember, register your business after you get your cage code with marketplace.unison.global, and you'll find a bunch of opportunities that you can bid on. Now, once you win your first contract, you'll start to get the hang of this thing and you'll learn how to win more. And remember, once you get awarded, you'll have situations where you'll have list of awards. Once you're found in the database and people know you won a contract before prior, the chance of you being able to bid for another one does come up often. So you select, one of these particular contracts by the buyer number, and then you still have to. So let's just look for the one I saw earlier, which was Dell Computers. Let's see here. Okay, so it was Dell monitors open. Okay, and the buyer is for Norfolk. So let's take a look at that particular contract. Again, it has an NIC code. So this is for a business with this particular NIC code. Now, NIC codes usually are like, in this case for computers, like 400 something, but then the last 3 or 4 will be different depending on what part of computer professional service you're doing. So just, if you want to know more about NIC codes, there's a standard website code. Okay, so it's at www.NAICS codes. And basically, these are the standard codes that the government wants to definitely be attached to your business to tell them what kind of business you're in. So like if you're in the information business, you want to make sure your NIC code matches with that, versus if you're in the manufacturing business. But you can see the different various NICS codes set up on NICS.com, 6-digit NICS. So, okay. So let's go back to the opportunities. And this particular contract, if you wanted to bid on it, it looks like there's 35 hours left. And let's just see what they actually need in this contract. Buyer term, seller understand the marketplace ranks bids by price. However, sales may be evaluated by buyers in accordance with basis established in solicitation. Let's see. Well, this says bidders requirements. All right, this is another key thing you want to look for. What type of contract it is, a set aside. So that means that the government has set aside that fits in. So if you get SBA funding and it's marked as set aside funding, this particular contract matches up with set aside funding. So you definitely want to look to see, okay, if you're getting your money from, now you can bid using your own money or you can bid using SBA money. In this case, you could actually use set aside funding. So that's just to let you know that, hey, if you're ordering, in this case, the description here for the contract is you need to supply 292 Dell Ultra Sharp monitors to this particular buyer here called FLC Norfolk. Whether you get these for a discount price, all you have to do is put your bid in and tell the government how much you could sell it to FLC Norfolk. And as you can see, the deadline is, I believe, today by 11 o'clock. Now they'll make exceptions, they may reopen it, but this is a platform that allows you to put in your bid and bid on the contract, and then it also lets you know whether you were awarded the contract or not. But you can see your active bids, your draft bids, and then your bid results, whether you got declined or not. And so again, in order to bid for a contract opportunity, you need to be able to fill out the template. So if you see they have the basic information on what the contract needs and who it's going to, in this case, the DHS Customs and Border Protection. And then you download this template. And within the template, it'll tell you what information is needed. In this case, they only need 2 ice machines. That's the cool thing about this site. They'll tell you what you need, and it gets easier and easier every time. If you're bidding for these items, each time you bid for them, you learn a difference about it, or about the process of why you won or why you lost. And it just goes from there. Let's see, you're still pulling up. And here's another type of funding called GSA scheduling. So there's different type of categories of government contracts being filled. And another popular one is called GSA scheduling. All right, so they did just put this in a nice little Excel sheet. There's nothing special to this. All they did was put, in Excel sheet, 2 ice machines, and then you fill in the manufacturer and the part number. Nothing special about that. They do give you some instructions. Says save the spreadsheet to your computer, enter in all the required bid information, and log into Unison Marketplace and start the bid and access pre-existing bid. And I'm almost sure you're just going to basically upload. Yeah, so again, you're just going to upload the manufacturer and the part, and then the amount of money you're willing to bid on this process for, how much money you would need. And then the government would say, okay, 2 ice machines, let's say each of them are $500, and you're bidding, you can get them for $1,000. Someone else might bid it to be $800. You would, in that case, possibly lose the bid. But in some cases, the government would allow for up to $1,000 for these 2 ice machines needed. Okay, so that's the process. You just click on the opportunity. Let's go back. Opportunities. Click on the buyer ID. Go down to download the template, complete the template, and all the information it asks to fill. In this case, the ice machines, the name of the manufacturer, and the part number, and then your contract ceiling price. And then, you would leave that blank in this case. But if you're resubmitting, you might have to fill that out. All right. And then you just upload that back to the, say, go to draft bids. Active bids. Let's go back to that opportunity. Watch. Okay, and then you click on here, and then you could bid on the process. All right, so here it is, start bid right here. If you wanted to bid on this particular buying opportunity, 2 ice machines supplied. And like I said, each opportunity that you place a bid, you will learn something different. You will understand whether, look at this, this lets you know set aside requirement, no set aside restriction. So that just means that's that type of funding. So let's look up set aside. Again, you can get your money, like if you go look at this opportunity, what it's letting you know is that there's no restriction, no set aside restriction. So it's not saying you can use set aside money for this particular opportunity. There are certain contracts that will say you can't use SBA set aside money. So it says set aside procurement, officers can use set asides and sole source contracts to help federal government meet its needs. When to use set aside or sole source contracts, the federal government prefers contracts with small business whenever possible. Contracting officials can use set aside sole source contracts to help agencies meet their small business goal. There's a number of small type of business that are able to do work and how much the contract is worth. And it lets you know, okay, small amount set asides is anywhere from 3,500 up to 150,000. 150,000 or more set aside is if there are 2 or more small businesses that do the work. You must first consider an AH. So again, the government has a way of saying, okay, you can use this money if you follow this process. So like in the sense of just getting 3,500 to 150,000, that's not a big amount of money that the government's doing a whole lot of checking and verifying. Once you get more funding, like up to 150,000, and the work is being done by two businesses, then they're saying, hey, did you first do this? Did you go to SBA 8 funding? Did you go through HB Hub Zone funding? Did you go through SDVO funding? And did you go through WOSB set aside funding? So they don't want you to just one size fits all. There's a certain amount of money, pots of money that are allocated for certain type of contracts. Okay. Now let's just look at this one, 1.5 million or more. If not a set aside, must have a subcontracting plan, and if not, awarded for a small business. So again, the SBA is almost like a bank. They have different criteria for different type of money. If you're a small business and you're only doing, $150,000, most of the time they won't require a lot of paperwork from the bank. The SBA has different levels here, and they're just saying, go through these processes first. Once you get to this level, look, so they do $700,000 or more for non-construction contracts, and subcontracts can be awarded to small businesses. So they go deep in depth. What is WOSB, which is women-owned small business, service disabled veteran ownership program. So basically the government has set aside a lot of money for people to do business with the government. And as I said here, when you read these contracts, these bids, all you have to do is figure out, does the money that you have, is it restricted in some sort before you place your bid? Because you don't want to use the wrong type of money for the government. Again, with the government, it's very, thing has to be very exact. So again, this is just a quick video about starting your business with Legalzoom.com. Making sure the business name is available, and using Secretary of State, and then also getting yourself what they call a cage code. The cage code is the unique identifier that lets them know that you want to do business with the government. And then from there, you just want to make sure you register with a website called marketplace.unisonglobal.com. I'll put the link below. And then once you register, you can start bidding for several different contracts and keep track of whether you get awarded or why it gets kicked back. And as I said, there's contracts out there for everything. In this case, they just need ice machines. They need 2 ice machines. And if you can get that product to that particular customer for the government, they will pay you for that. Okay? So I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.